what a result today, right? I mean, there was a lot of grit. This wasn't one that's going to go up in the museums anytime soon as a piece of art, but man, as a piece of grit, that sure was. Avery, maybe can you start us off with a little bit kind of the team's mindset going in, and as the game flowed, what was the conversation like on the bench? What was the team talks, towards that end?
So going in, we had a lot of energy. I ain't even gonna lie. We was stoked to play, and just coming out, they had got on us early. And so I guess that had took our energy level like a bunch of meters down. And so that little going into halftime, we had them little turnovers, and everybody was just looking down. And we had 20 more minutes to go in the game. So I was just trying to keep everybody together, tell Cade pick his head up, because he a game time situation player. So I knew he was going to be ready. Key, we just had to tell him stay in the game. So everybody was just trying to pick each other up at the halftime. And then during the game, Burn played some big minutes for us. He really got us going with them rebounds and free throws. And so that's how we really picked up our energy in that second half.
And Cade, maybe before we get to the game itself, I feel like I need to ask you, how are you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm good. My ankle, adrenaline and stuff kicks in. You don't really feel it too much. Halftime, coming out of halftime, we kind of stiffened up a little bit, but as the game got back going, I was all right. So, yeah, adrenaline takes over for sure.
Okay, Avery kind of talked about Bernie, and he talked about other guys. I mean, maybe your perspective on, I think a lot of times the talk about Cade Cunningham, but today was a great example of everybody else and how it's a team. And I mean, maybe if you can expand a little bit on where Avery was going with that.
I'm glad you asked that question. Yeah, I know there's a lot of, attention on me a lot of times, but, we didn't get to this point, being a one-man show. And I think that shows, huge plays down the stretch, Avery with huge layup, 1K with huge free throws, Isaac with the big-time block at the end. Like he said, Burn making huge plays for us. It's a team game, especially in March. You're not going to win with just one person. It's a team effort. West Virginia's a really good team. And, we all had to make plays. We all had to contribute to the win. So, I'm happy we all came in and made winning plays. And, some guys, we made mistakes for sure. Plenty of them. Like you said, it wasn't a piece of art, but, we fought through. I think that was the biggest thing for us.
All right, members of the media, if you have a question for Oklahoma State's Avery Anderson or Cade Cunningham, please click raise hand, and we'll try and get to everybody. Our first question is going to come from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, for Cade, I kind of want to ask about Ice's finish. I know he had some big moments today, but how did the block at the end and the big rebound and he kicked it out to you pretty quick, and that was a turnover. But what about the way Ice finished?
I think that just shows, what type of competitor he is. Even when things aren't, going the way that he might want them to go, he's still going to try to compete for his team and make plays to win. I know he probably feels like he could play better. I know his thumb was kind of bothering him sometimes when he was, shooting the ball, but, he fought through it and, still try to make plays on the other end, especially on defense. Rebounding, things like big-time offensive rebounds for us. So, yeah, I think that just shows what kind of competitor he is and how his will to win.
And Avery, you were here last year in the tournament, and Ice hit the layup to win the game, and he has those big plays down the stretch. What is it about him and these moments in the tournament?
He built for it. That's what that says. He shows up when we need him to show up, and he's just a big time player, and that's what we need. And that's good that we having him back. It brings the team back together and Cade so we could be at full strength.
Cade, turnovers were a problem again today. How do you guys clean that up? Some of it seemed like it was just some lackadaisical passes or plays. How do you guys clean that up moving forward?
I think definitely film, seeing ourselves more and more. But yeah, like you said, just trying to value every possession. And even, through the course of the game, whenever, our game plan and what was written on the whiteboard in the locker room kind of leaves our heads and we're just kind of out there competing. I think the biggest thing for us is just trying to, keep that in the back of our minds, like taking care of the ball, I mean, we shoot such a high field goal percentage. And, you know, that's something that coach always preaches. Like, you know, when we don't turn the ball over, we score it most of the time. So, you know, just keeping that in our minds and trying to value every possession, make the most out of every play. I think that's the biggest thing for us. While still staying aggressive, for sure.
Jacob, do you have anything else, or was that it? All right. Our next question is going to come from Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports. Go ahead, Dennis. Dennis, can you go ahead and hit unmute, please? All right, Dennis, we'll come back to you. Our next question is going to come from Frank Bonner from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Avery, this first one's for you. Last year, you guys won a game and then got sent home because of COVID-19. How does it feel to know that you got another game plan after you get your first win in the conference?
Hey, hold on, everybody. Hold on. Frank, I'm going to mute you, okay? All right, Avery, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you remember his question?
Yeah. I was just saying, like, it brings even more excitement to the team knowing that we got an extra game and not going home because of COVID.
All right, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Our next question is going to come from Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, this can be for either one of you, but you guys kind of alluded to you didn't play your best game today. Is that promising that, you know, it didn't come together and you guys are still able to win, or is that a little frustrating that it's this late in the year and you're still maybe not playing as good as basketball as you maybe want to?
I wouldn't say it's frustrating. Any win at this time of the year, you know, we'll take. You know, there's still things that we can add to our game, but you know, we've had me and Ice just coming back. Everybody was just kind of getting back into the groove of things. And with that, you know, we still competed and grinded out a victory. So we know, you know, we're gonna have to clean things up for sure if we want to make it as far as, you know, we plan on going. But we're definitely not gonna get down over a win for sure.
And then Avery, for you, Sherman, he had 2 big threes there, kind of towards the end of the game. How do you keep a solid mindset after those threes like that? Because there was nothing really you guys could have done differently. So how do you just kind of keep going after seeing him make those world beater shots?
Yeah, he's a good player. I had played against him in high school at the state tournament game, so I knew he could shoot the ball very well. And just how you keep your composure, just going to the next play and try to get a stop on the next possession. You can't stop a shot from going in, so you got to keep your head level-headed and contest it even harder.
And then, Cade, the last thing for you, can you kind of take me through your vantage point of that final sequence with Ice's block and then the couple pumps where 1K kind of got him to hesitate before the shot? Can you kind of just take me through your vantage point of that?
Yeah, Ice did a big-time job fighting through. First, they set a elevator screen for him to come through. So 2 guys, you know, wedge Ice in. You know, Ice is like a football player playing basketball, so he fought through that one well. You know, you could just tell how bad he knew Sherman was going to get it, how bad he wanted to win. So fought through it, got a high hand, blocked the shot. And then, yeah, it got all the way out to McNeil. He pumped a couple times. I was wondering, like, there's no way he's going to get it off. There's no way there's enough time. But I guess, you know, on the last pump, he got it off. I just turned around. I saw the ball go through the net. I didn't know if he got it off.
I didn't even see the ball go through the net because I already knew the buzzer had went off when it was in his hands.
Yeah, but I kind of figured it was too late. So big time winner for sure.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right, let's try and go back here to Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports. Dennis, can you hear us? Dennis, click unmute. You've been cleared to unmute. All right, we'll try and come back to you again another time after this. So our next question is going to come from Garen Emick from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Garen.
Fellas, can you hear me all right?
We can't hear you now.
Hey.
You muted now.
Yep.
Okay, now, there we go.
There we go.
What's the most important thing? You've already talked about Isaac, I know both of y'all have, but what's the most important thing he does for you day in, day out in terms of the program?
I would say being a leader and always talking to everybody, keeping each other level-headed, and just bringing that energy for us, and just being that good leader on the side if we need it. And he's a good instructor to go to, I would say, because he's been here for 3 years, so he knows what coach expects and what he needs.
Yeah, he has a really high IQ, and he does a good job of helping other dudes by explaining what the team does. He's been with Coach Mike for a couple of years, so explaining what we do as a team, and just trying to keep guys motivated when they're down, things like that. So he's always in guys' ear. You'll never hear Ice not talking, for sure, in practice or in the huddles or whatever. But it's something that that's our guy. That's the that's the dude that we know wants to win, and that's what we need. We need somebody like that.
All right, thanks, Kieran. Our next question is going to come from Barry Trammell from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, Cade, what about that guy sitting next to you? He had 31 the other day in Morgantown. He had 15 in the second half. What can you say about the way Avery's come along as a scorer on this team?
I've been watching Avery for a long time now, and I've always known about his ability. I know he don't like hearing about himself, but I've always known about his ability. I think the biggest thing for him was just being confident, and yeah, he can be that guy with the ball in his hand. So, I know I have the ball in my hands a lot. Ice did a bunch, but having somebody like this that we can take pressure off of us and be a guy that's the primary ball handler and go make plays for everybody. It's huge for us, and now that he's got really comfortable in that role, I've already seen it in high school and before that, so I knew he could do it. But yeah, big plays after big plays, those don't happen by accident. He works every day in the morning, and it shows on the court.
And Avery, what do you say about the way these last two games, the way you've come through and sort of blossomed as a scorer?
I'm just saying my work is finally paying off and showing. Like you said, I get up in the morning, work out I lift. If I'm not lifting, I'm doing basketball workout. So just doing something to get up and do something in the morning and just working. You got to stay the course, and that's what I'm trying to do. When my time gonna come, my time gonna come.
Did you tell that you guys needed an offense? Obviously, they needed you Saturday in Morgantown with Cade and Ice gone, but could you sort of sense that, hey, we need a scoring pick-me-up today?
For sure. We had trouble scoring in the first half, so I knew somebody needed to pick up the scoring in the second half. And K had got it going, I had got it going, and especially when K too. So that was big time.
All right, thanks, Barry. We're going to try one more time here with Dennis Dodd. All right.
Hey,
Dennis,
how about that?
he's through.
You got me?
Here we go.
I got you.
All right. Cade, to sum up what this experience has been like this season, and then what level of anticipation do you have for what's to come here in the tournament?
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I don't think anybody expected us to be at this point, especially whenever, the sanctions came down and we wouldn't make the postseason. They thought everybody would probably leave or, whatever. But, to see everybody stay the course and buy into the system that Coach has set in place, I'm excited. I'm excited to see, how far we can go with this. And we're going to try to make the most out of every moment. We're going to try to live in the moment and, see how far we can go.
What describe what West Virginia did to you defensively today? It looked like they tried to double you at every touch almost.
Yeah, they tried to deny me a bunch. On ball screens, they sent doubles and things like that. But, when those type of things happen, it's the best to try to, take that challenge on, take the doubles with you, and find other teammates so they can go make plays. So, that's what I tried to do early in the first half. We made plays, stayed in the game. Ended the first half bad, but it's a roller coaster ride through the game. Every team makes a run. Basketball is a game run. So, my team definitely kept me, my spirits high and kept me motivated, and we came out to win.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go back to Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Cade, I apologize if you addressed this. My connection was crap at the beginning. What was it like sitting there and watching the game Saturday and what your teammates did?
Man, I'd say that was probably the biggest game of the year and probably the most fun game of the year. Just because, I don't think anybody besides our locker room believed in us at the time. And, just finally seeing like, I know how much attention that me and Ice get, but me and Ice know how much attention that the rest of the team deserves. So to see that game and see how Avery, put on for us and, see how everybody stepped up, man, it was just fun to watch. And yeah, it was.
He was a big
fun,
supporter
man.
on the sideline. We needed that. He was a big supporter.
It was fun.
And for either one of you, what was the message at halftime after that flurry of turnovers led to West Virginia kind of getting some fast breaks?
Just keep our heads. I know I'm a better player than getting my ball took at half court. So, just kind of try to take it to the chin. Know that he got the better of me. That play, but I'm gonna stay confident. I have a short-term memory. And yeah, I think all of us, we just kind of went in at first, like Avery said. We're just kind of shocked at how we performed in the half, but we've been there before. We've been down 6 at half before, and we came out with a different mindset, knowing that we had to pick it up. So we did that.
I don't know. You guys may not have a good answer for this, but I think Derek Culver was ill today. Is that any kind of concern in a bubble when a player is playing through an illness?
You said he had an illness?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know.
No. That's fair.
COVID, so it ain't.
Yeah.
Cool.
When looking ahead a little bit, I would say a good chance you get Baylor tomorrow. But let's say you do. You played them last week. How much do you guys want to rematch with Baylor and kind of another shot?
Oh, we ready? We got everybody back, so I think everybody ready to play them again. Yeah, I'm ready at least.
Not just you, bro.
Awesome. Thanks, fellas.
Hey, Frank and Ryan, I see that you guys have your hands up. If you could just keep those up, we'll make you the first 2 questions for Coach Boynton, but we're going to go ahead and wrap up with the players. But fellas, before I let you guys go, I think you know how we like to do it. Is there anything that's important to you that maybe we missed that you want to share while we've got the whole group here together?
Go Post. Great job, Bernie.
Sorry. Good job, man.
All right. We appreciate both of you.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Ready for you, Coach?
Coach, can you hear us okay?
I can. Hold on 1 second. Move that second chair away. Yep, we're good.
So I think if they would qualify this game and maybe about 2/3 of the season as a movie, they'd say this is a thriller, right? I mean, that's kind of what this team has been throughout the year. It seems like finding ways late in games. Sometimes it's pretty, sometimes it's not pretty, but it seems like they're all close and they're all dogfights. Maybe can you talk a little bit about what you saw today and how you felt about it?
I'd qualify that with a dramatic thriller, but it's a team with a lot of resilience. When you go through this conference and play, we're one of the fortunate teams to play all of our games in league play. You see everything, and then things get even a little crazier once the calendar turns to March, inevitably, right? And this is why people are so excited about next week, is because they missed this last year. And I thought today was a prime example of what you see in March, 2 teams duking it out. I don't think either one of the coaches would say they played well. Certainly don't believe we played well. We had 20 turnovers again, but we kept finding ways to get enough easy baskets. And then our defense saved our bacon at the end. Isaac Likely was sensational as a rebounder. It was certainly tremendous having him back, his presence. Bernard Kuma, I thought, gave us some great minutes. And then I thought Avery Anderson was really good again. But it was a total team effort. A lot of guys gave us some big contributions.
Great. Hey, Coach, before we open up to questions, would you be able to maybe just adjust the screen just a little bit? Your chin was getting cut off of the screen there. There we go.
I'm not really sure I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that'll be good right there.
A little bit. Is that better?
Yep, much better. Thank you.
Sorry, guys.
Let's just open it right up to questions here. So our first questions can come from Frank Bonner from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Mike, over the regular season, you guys had a bunch of games where you were able to pull out wins while not playing your best, and today can be thrown in that category. In a time where it's win or go home, how much of those previous games prepared you for this postseason stretch?
I'd say every game we played. Sorry about that. I say every game we played has helped prepare us for what we're doing now. Is just finding different ways to win, and even doing so when you don't play your best. And that's what's required this time of year. And we're playing against high-level competition too here now. So any expectation that we would come out here and win by 15 points, I'm pretty sure we were not favored to win today. And so I'm glad that our kids fought and scrapped enough and made enough plays to come out on the winning side.
All right, our next question is going to come from Ryan Breeden from the Ocala. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, Mike, I know it's kind of loud in here, so I'll ask both my questions in one and let you just answer both of them. I think it's probably fair to say that you guys didn't have exactly the end of the first half that you had wanted. So my first question would be, what did you guys talk about at halftime? What were some of the adjustments, some of the things you guys fixed and figured out? And then in the second half, you guys were down 8, went on that big run, got up by 10. What did you guys talk about during those 2 long timeouts near the 12-minute mark?
So just go to halftime first. It started with giving up a 3 to McNeil while we had a lead initially. And that was the first breakdown. And then we just had 2 not just head scratching turnovers. I mean, the best player in the country gets the ball just taken out of his hands for a layup. And then, we have another turnover where we should literally not be shooting the ball until there's like 4 seconds left. The thing that I'll say is I've had to change my approach with this group in this regard. It's very hard for me to get them to think about what's happened so many times before. We really have to focus with this group on what we do moving forward. And that was the focus at halftime is, all right, here are the things that are bothering us. We've got 13 turnovers, which is what I think we had. And we had missed, I think, 7 or 8 layups. So are we good enough as scholarship players in the Big 12 to make layups and not give the ball to the other team? And they all thought that we would. We did a better job in the second half. We still had probably too many turnovers, but we made our layups. We got ourselves to the free throw line. At the 12-minute mark, I think we were down 5. And I told the team at the next timeout, right now, again, it's the same mentality. Let's move forward. In the next 4-minute game, we have to win. And I want to be tied or ahead when we come back to the under 8. And I think we were up maybe 4 or 5 at that time, which was a big swing for us.
Our next question comes from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Mike, you kind of touched on ice a little bit. Those last couple sequences, kind of, I guess, maybe similar to what he did at the end of Iowa State last year. How big is ice in these kind of moments in this tournament?
Well, it's why I believe that recruiting winners has to be a big priority. And he's a winner. The Boones are winners. Cade's a winner. And we have guys who all won and all understand what it takes to have success as a team. And he leads us in that regard. He's always talking about the little things that maybe don't get a whole lot of fanfare, not making shots, not about, whatever. Right? He's talking about blocking out and running shooters off the line and securing rebounds with 2 hands. And, I'd say he's pretty close to having a master's in winning at this point. Although he hasn't won a lot here so far, we're having a good season now, but he understands what it takes. And he's always in the right position to make those type of plays, specifically on the defensive end.
On those couple plays, he got that quick outlet to Cade. It ended up being a turnover. What did you kind of see on that one? And then also the last sequence there where McNeil can't get the shot off and Ice had the block. What did you see on that?
Well, it's clear that, at the end of the game, you just look at the numbers at this point, right? The numbers are what they are. Cade is our best decision-making, ball handler, whatever. Avery, I think, led the league and led the Big 12 in free throw shooting. So we want to get one of those 2 guys the ball when we know the other team wants to foul. And then, when he's out, the thing that people don't realize, because they see us sometimes play offense better. right? Because the floor space and we got other guys who can shoot. But when it comes down to winning this time of year, and we need to stop, unless he doesn't have a way to move, he's going to be on the court. And I'll sacrifice whatever I need to on the offensive end because I know that he's going to be in position to make a right play on the defensive end, whether it be get a deflection or steal or rebound. And it's not like he's a bad offensive player. He's just not a shooter, and so you can't space the floor with him as much.
Do you feel like he was in rhythm today offensively?
I don't. I think it took quite a while for him to get going. You know, it's a rhythm game, Jacob. It's hard to sit. I mean, he basically hasn't. So he played the Tech game. He played a lot, but he's played one game in a month. I mean, he played at Kansas, right? And he played one time since then. It's hard, but he knew what he could do defensively, and we just had to kind of flush it a little bit for him. So I think as we move forward, he'll continue to get in better rhythm, but today was just a grind-out game for him.
Thanks, Mike.
Our next question comes from Garen Emig from the Tulsa World. Go ahead, Garen.
Yeah, Mike, you obviously enjoy having Isaac around for basketball reasons. You made those very clear. Tell me why you appreciate his presence just within the program. What about the kid that it makes you happy for results like today?
I'll take it back a little bit. You can mute, and if you need to come back, you can. But when I recruited Ice the spring after his senior season was over, after he decommitted from Fresno, it wasn't because like he was this highly ranked kid who I knew would be a transcendent talent. I'd watched Ice really for a really long time win. I just watched him win. I saw his high school teams have success, and I saw a kid who would do whatever it took for his team to win. And that's who I am. Like, that's who I was as a player. It's the only reason I had any chance to help a team in the SEC at all, right? Is because I understood that there are things that most people don't pay attention to that go into winning. And I thought I saw all those things in Ice. And, you know, this is maybe what people really don't know. Ice never played point guard before he came to Oklahoma State. But I was so bullish on what I thought he was about that I told him that I was going to put the ball in his hands and let him be the face of our program while I was the head coach as we move this thing forward. And luckily for me, he's committed to doing those things, and he's made adjustments along the way. And now he's put himself in a position where, you know, he's going to have a career playing basketball. But a lot of it has to do with his character, the type of person he is and the type of work ethic he has, more so than just his pure talent.
Our next question is going to come from Robert Allen from Triple Play Sports. Go ahead, Robert. Robert, go ahead and click unmute, please.
Yeah, Mike, I know you're probably not going to want to play this game, but it's the way you have to report during tournaments. More than likely, Baylor advances. They would be heavily favored against Kansas State. Couple of questions. How do you look at the matchup for tomorrow? And if you want to throw K-State in there, go ahead. And also, because of the way the bubble is created for these tournaments, does it make preparation for a second game in 24 hours easier? The team stays together. They're not going out. They're not tempted to go check out the mall or anything else downtown. Talk about that aspect of it, because this is a total basketball trip. There's nothing else going on.
We kind of approach it that way all the time, to be perfect. With non-COVID, we would highly encourage our guys to not do anything except for get off their feet and rest for the next 24 hours or whatever. And I'm pretty confident that they're going to do that today. First, because they had to get up at 6 a.m. to do testing this morning. And we do not have a morning team. Our guys were not happy about that. So that they get to go back and now take a nap. They'll probably sleep for most of the afternoon, which I think limits the opportunities, because by that point we'll know who we play and get in prep mode. As far as the opponents, I don't know. We focus so much more on ourselves. We played Baylor pretty recently. and we know how good they are. We know how good K-State is becoming right in front of us. I mean, I talked about this coming into our second matchup with them. They've gotten better as much as any team has gotten better from the start to the end of the season in our conference. And I thought it was on display last night. I think they were up 25 points in that game. I mean, there are very few blowouts in conference tournaments. Certainly not when you talk about a team that finished in 9th place. So we won't overlook them at all. We're going to watch the game objectively, and whoever wins, we'll do our best to prepare our team to go out and get ready for what we'll assume will be a really competitive game.
Congratulations. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Next question comes from Marshall Scott from Pistols Firing. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, Mike, on Saturday, it seemed like West Virginia was switching a lot of ball screens. And then today with Cade, obviously, they started doubling them. Is that something that you're okay with if that means that it's 4v3 elsewhere of them doubling Cade?
Yeah, we worked on our short rolls, which I thought we kind of took advantage of early. And we kind of got back to over dribbling and holding it too long. But again, that's kind of what you deal with in this league. You got really good coaches. Like Huggins was not going to sit there and let Cade go for 40. He know that's possible. And so I wasn't surprised. I was pleased with how our guys adjusted to doing something that we haven't done much of this year, really for the first time, but we had practiced it for pretty much the whole week. So we'll see. We'll see how everybody plays us. Very small chance we'll see them again. If we do, I would imagine it'll be a long time from now. I'll be glad to prepare for them a fourth time. But yeah, that's what happens. Just make adjustments from game to game.
No, I asked the guys the same question of, is it frustrating that maybe you're not playing your best right now, or is it kind of promising that you're still winning despite not playing your best?
That's probably honestly a little bit of both. There's a small hint of frustration because the truth is at some point it's going to bite you, right? You can't keep turning it over 20 times like that, not against the competition we're playing. So you got to be honest about, all right, let's be intentional about cutting those down to the 15-ish range. We're a pretty aggressive team. We're going to probably turn it over more than, say, a K-State who's pretty possession conscious. We want high possession games, which lends to more turnovers. On the flip side, I have a lot of optimism that if we have opportunities to keep playing, this team has shown the ability to get better at things. We've gotten better at closing games. We've gotten better at playing with different lineups. And I think we'll get better at taking care of the ball. But, that's one thing I'll continue to lose sleep over until we do it.
And then last thing from me, I don't know who hands out the Player of the Year award in a normal year, but how cool was it that you got to do that with Cade before the game?
It was awesome, man. I've said it time and time again. I feel like this is nothing against his parents, right? They've done a great job, but I feel like I've helped raise him. I've been on this journey for such a long time with them. Really, and I think of all these guys like my own children, but obviously I have a really special bond. We've been through a lot. We've had to discuss a lot of hard things. And I'm certainly glad that everything that I think he's wanted to do as a college player, many of those things are coming to light now. And on the same token, a lot of the things that I hoped he would be able to help our program do are coming to light. So it's been a pretty good marriage. Unfortunately, we're going to have an amicable separation here soon. We won't divorce, but we're going to have an amicable separation, but I hope it's not for a couple more weeks.
Appreciate it, Mike.
All right, Dan, our last few questions. Our next one's going to come from Dennis Dodd from CBS. Go ahead, Dennis.
Hey, I'm here again. Great. Mike, congratulations. It's one thing to have the best player in the country. It's another for him to assimilate. And I know you've known him for a large portion of his life, but what did you know it was going to work out with him in the locker room, I guess?
It's interesting because there were 2 points, Dennis, that I'll refer to. One was in our preseason workouts. So I had in my mind a vision of playing Cade and Ice inside.
Yeah.
But we never talked about that in recruiting. Like that wasn't really a part of the conversation. And so you kind of wonder if you do something that you haven't talked about, the kid is going to look at you like that wasn't what we discussed. Like I'm going to be the point guard and like you'll figure out somebody else that'll play inside. But the first time I sent him to work with our bigs, he was as excited as anybody because he just embraces the opportunity to improve. And so that was one of the first things. He was willing to give up the ball and help us win in other ways other than him having the ball, which helped other guys develop. And then after his first college game, I don't think you heard the story, but played the day before Thanksgiving in Arlington. His first college game was on the road. And I usually work out pretty early in the morning. I came in the gym at about 6 a.m. and I heard a ball bouncing. And I was certain it was one of our returners, a walk-on or something like that. But it was Cade in the gym by himself, shooting and rebounding on his own. And it was pretty unique to see because I would imagine it's not like he played bad. I mean, I think he had like 25 and 8 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But his commitment to the process, not getting caught up in what everybody assumed, man, he's great, he's going to be gone. And I think that brought him credibility with his teammates, that he wasn't above doing the work or sacrificing some personal things so our team can have success.
Thank you.
No problem.
Our next question is going to come from Barry Trammell from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, Mike. Teams in March that are successful, they develop and they sort of reinvent themselves along the way. Is that sort of what's happening with Avery developing as a scorer for you? 2 straight games, he's been huge at his ability to make shots and get to the rim. And is this just something new that we're seeing, and it's really helping you guys sort of blossom into an even better team?
Yeah, I would go back and reference our game at Texas as I think the turning point for him. Just from what I've watched, right? I can't necessarily speak about how the kid feels about it. But once he started his first game, I think the Texas game was his first start. I think he was relieved that maybe, again, kids think of starting as a really, really big deal for whatever reason. I probably did when I was a player. I don't remember. It's probably convenient for me to forget now as a coach, right? But I know it's a big deal to guys. And I think that sometimes that gives them the belief that the coaches believe in them more. And I think he kind of was relieved that maybe that was a sign that I believed in him more. And I think he's played pretty consistently since then. I know he played well at Tech, but we had to help him understand Cade's still going to be the guy as a primary handler, and Ice is going to be the secondary handler. So what we really need from you is what you do best, which is now if somebody's putting their best defender on Cade and their second best defender on Ice, who's guarding him? The third best defender, I don't think's good enough to stop him. And I know Avery doesn't think that they're good enough to stop him because he doesn't think the best defender is good enough to stop him. He's got supreme confidence. And I think us relieving him of some of the pressure of having to make plays for others has given him confidence to just go out there and score a little bit better.
What does it do for you when you have a guy that can score 31 in Morgantown or 15 in the second half in Kansas City?
Well, a couple things. The way we're designed, it gives us a lot of flexibility. They wanted to press us. They needed to try to speed us up. Well, I think it was Ice, Cade, Bryce, and Avery. So trap one of them. Usually you think you go into a secondary ball handler. Well, all of those guys, I think on a different team would be the primary ball handler and decision maker. And I got all 4 of them out there. And so the press wasn't that effective because we've got that many different ball handlers and decision makers. And it gives us another look, if we're not playing big, that we can still be effective both offensively and defensively.
All right, and our final question is going to come from Jacob Unruh from the Oklahoman. Go ahead, Jacob.
Like you mentioned the testing at 6 a.m. this morning. Cade and Avery said they weren't aware of it, but I think Derek Culver was playing through an illness. Does that concern you in a bubble, considering how fragile everything is?
It's the first I've heard of this, so I don't really have a response. I would imagine that everyone here is on the same page about doing everything we can to keep everybody safe and healthy as we try to bring this thing to a conclusion. But I'll have to get more information before I can really comment on the specifics of whatever the situation is.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, well, that'll do it for questions. Coach, did we miss anything? Is there anything important to you that maybe we didn't cover while we've got the group here?
No, just invoke a little Jimmy V, survive in advance. See you guys tomorrow.
All right, take good care. We appreciate you. Members of the media, we appreciate you as always.